Hello, my friends. So let's get down to brass tacks on the doings, shall we? So, we have the Codex. Opening the gates are one of the foundations of my practice. What do I mean by that? I mean, opening the gates means you're cracking the space between who you are and what that energy is on the other side. It's the union of where you can project yourself in your psychic body through an intermediary, through a design, through a pattern, and basically create a tunnel into which you move from this reality into one that you choose. So that as you do that, you've got something that you can build upon. You have some way to interact with these energies that allow you to change who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and your root motivations. So if you use the planetary gates, you can change and modify who you are in relation to those energies on purpose. So if you need to change behaviors, tapping the gates and opening the way is an excellent way to do this. No pun intended. So it's on page 335 of the Codex, which is originally written in 2010. It was a really interesting experience. Like, the whole book was just channeled in about 3 days, like 800 pages of content. Fantastic experience. Um, so as you see by the opening and the type of work involved in the various processes of the work, there's quite a bit of setup on needs to do in order to maintain a stable gate between the worlds. And so this comes through the different elemental seals, using those as an anchor around the gate. So those are on pages 326 to 327. So this is a little bit after that. This gate that you create within yourself or in a physical object or whatever medium that it is that you have chosen to achieve such results is up to you. Through this method, one can achieve any number of effects to shift the world around them. So once you have established your own way beyond this world into the primal world, you have a way around the limitations imposed by, say, for example, an older species that limits the consciousness of humanity, or the conjurations or supplications to various titans that you might serve under, or like I work with Themis. So this is where that comes out of, is it was the limitations that Themis puts on people in order to not understand, you know, fully what the hive mind is, or being able to interact with it until they reach a certain point of their journey, right? Um, I would venture to say that what is presented is the high art of the fallen in a new dimension of understanding. So in this case, I went on to say that the opening of the way is basically, it allows you, if you understand that you are in a fallen world, to regain the keys of heaven with these methods. Inasmuch as any soul is daring enough to undertake these forces, can be conjured from beyond the gate, and the limitations imposed by such to create new paths of magic, science, and development of the human spiritual evolutionary path. So, what do I mean by saying this? I mean that by doing it like this, the opportunity for your developmental growth allows you to go and do this and dig this deeper. It allows you to dig a deeper trench. So, while this book is in need of an overhaul, and as I rewrite all of this material, um, the gates become a personal journey. Like, you internalize them, and this is what the rite of transformation from the Grimoire of Arts deals in, is that it lets you tap into the gates of the roads of the world before. So if we're in a recreation of a fallen world, if we are a second version of the world that we came from, and we now live in a new space time, new portion of the galaxy, new whatever it is that you want to call it, we have these applications that you are reuniting who you are with the source of creation, so that way you get to become more fully yourself, so that you get to develop more fully who it is you want to become in relation to the thing that you are inside, like that path of life that you've been since time immemorial, since the deeper application of your own work, right? And this allows you to draw off greater energies, so you'll only need to open this gate within yourself when you wish to draw off the greater power in order to manifest your workings better. So you don't need to use these things every time, in other words. So when you need to do a ritual, you can do it on this terrestrial plane, and you'll be fine. If you want to make sure that you've made this energy stick and you want to create the compression of the singularity, so that way no matter what you do, you're able to do it through all versions of yourself in all dimensions, so that, like, if you're releasing the power of the seals, again, you know that we're in a fallen world, so by purifying yourself and forgiving yourself, which I have the rituals to do, it allows you basically to walk a path of redemption, so that even though you are a fallen spirit in a fallen world, you can walk in a higher way to serve in a better format. So that way, as you move forward in your own personal journey, you're able to overcome the limitations of who you were and who you want to become. And this allows you to evoke the gates outside of the whims of the gatekeeper. So the gatekeeper open the way by the way whose course is set. You in this case take on the role of the gatekeeper because you control the gate to your own way. Right? So you are your own gatekeeper for these things once you make them internal. Until then, you're subject to the whims of the restrictions of the older codes or whatever, older laws or whatever it is that made the world fallen in the first place. So developing a connection to your source directly is the aim of every religious order since the dawn of creation. It is through this work that you'll be able to achieve your own personal gateway in this manner. You just have to do it on your own in order to see what results work best for you in relation to, once you crack the gate, once you do the rite of transformation, you are then going to create yourself an entirely new entity inside yourself. You will no longer be who you were. You will no longer be who you are before you do it. You are who you become afterwards. So it's entirely new. You get to become something entirely new. And so on page 337, I get into remaking of the self and design. It's just a short little passage. When you build the world to your design, you have the capacity to develop the ability to remake your mental structure when you do the work of the ancients. In that, you will be remaking your personality. Your mental clarity will become whoever it is that you want to become. It is possessing qualities of another mind, another personality, another perception, and precognitive existence, where existence is as if you know it, been there, and lived it. So it allows you to remember the world in advance. So the who you were and who you will become, your precog basically gets enhanced because you get to see who you're going to become because you've become someone new. And so by becoming someone new, you're no longer who you've been. And when you have major times in your life which flow backwards into the past, connecting to your roots, and the developing the center of consciousness that allows you to act on your focus. So you must endure. In the times when you are at your best version of who you can be. There are subtle times when the body is at most open to the tides of perception. To have the power to see, feel, exist, and remember the past as if you were riding along as a memory. When your future self is recalling to your lower self, or your lower self is calling to the future selves, current memories as through the moment of clarity, you become at one with the all. So you become the god of your own creation. So you are not an individual servant of the divine that is external. You are now an internal, motivated creation that you have set your own creation to be. So, like when you conjure the elemental seals, right? And you're going to crack the seals. Setting up the seals in the first place requires blood magic, at least the way that I did it. And so by bonding your elemental nature to your behaviors of what is the air, what is the earth, what is the fire, what is the water, right? You do those because you are the spirit. You don't need to include the seal of the spirit because this entire work is to crack open that seal so that way you can release the full power of your spiritual being while you're still alive, so you don't have to go to the underworld in order to do this. So when you're conjuring the elemental seals for the earth, as I summon forth the primal earth by the covenant of blood, come forth through the seal of the earth. In this case, that is your body. For the air, I summon forth the primal breath. By the covenant of blood, come forth through the seal of air. The fire, I summon forth the primal fire. By the covenant of blood, come forth through the seal of fire. Right? So you have the body, you have the breath, you have the blood. I summon forth the primal seas. By the covenant of blood, come forth through the seal of water. Well, the fire and the blood, again, are similar. You've got the fire is the behavior, is your spirit, right? The primal seas is your blood, the DNA strand that moves through you. So in this case, you're calling upon the different aspects of your body in order to release. The conjuration of the seals of 8, move on to, I call forth that which is beyond the veil by the powers that created the world. I call forth the primal spheres of the one who opens the way. Be summoned forth the cosmic mind. Be summoned forth the essence of time. Be summoned forth the primal darkness. Be summoned forth the light of creation. Be summoned forth the essence of death. Be summoned forth the essence of life. Be summoned forth the essence of spirit. I give my body unto my fire, and I become the lord of blackened fire. I call forth the watchtower of the shadows and open the gate to the worlds. I forge by these forces this plane that shall be created, hence by my creation. And my will forges the bond between the earth and heavens, by my blood and the eternal fire. And from these raw forces I create the gate between the worlds. Forth from this gate I now create by the sacred and the infernal united within in thought. Right? So as you do this work, you now charge your body in a way that allows you to conjure the gate. And doing this allows you to, again, it allows you to create yourself fully, who you are, what power you represent, what spirit you represent, what medium of operation you will be in this world. So that way, when you conjure the gate, after you've already prepared your body in this way, you can go into manifest beyond the reach of time in a place of mind and shade. I throw wide the gates and open now into the darkest plains. By the thought, will, and blood becoming, I summon forth the fires within my body. I evoke the eternal fire. Open now the gates before me by the blood of power. By the thought made word, this gate is made. And I'm not going to continue the rest because it's in the book. But those things are for opening up the path between who you really, really are at the hive level. Like, you were created from the divine mind. You are raw at the source. Like, there is nothing between you and basically the great cosmic reactor that you're sticking your hand into, and you are like redirecting it like you are the Tesla coil, right? That's what this work is designed to do. And it's designed very specifically to allow you to bypass the need to serve patrons, to work with the needs of the spirit guardians of various planes, planets, or what have you, and it allows you to become one of them yourself. So instead of them being above you in an intangible way, you are the physical manifestation of whatever that would be in relation to who it is that you become as a result of opening the way. So in this case, it's one of the coolest spells, coolest methodologies, and most dedicated practices that have allowed me to do the kind of work for my friends, for my clients, from the people that I teach, so that something like this becomes fundamental in the ways of personal development and transformation. So that way it's not just these intangible, oh, I'm going to think better thoughts and it'll be okay. It's like, no, there's solid ritual action. Like, you do the better thoughts, you do the affirmations, you prepare yourself over the months, the years, the whatever, but then it gets you into doing this kind of work. So that once you do this kind of work, you can forge new territory with your stuff. So that way it gives you the opportunity to go through the initiation rites, so you can hang yourself on the tree like Odin did. You can go through the journeys like Odysseus did. You can go through the underworld like Dante did. So in this way, it gives you the power to undertake these things yourself in your lifetime before you die. So I just want to leave you